I just want to address something real quick on here. Let me stop this. I was listening to your chat, SG, and I just want to tell you this. Unless you're willing to unblock these people who you're sitting over there talking shit about, I think that you should shut up because that's not right. I don't normally come on here and get so upset with person that I need to cuss them or call them out in anything other than their name. I don't normally do that, but you got me to that point, and I can see where everybody else is getting to that point with you too, because you seem to think it's okay to call people nasty and bitches and whores and all kinds of names, and you think they're just supposed to sit over there and not be able to comment because you blocked them in your channel. Now that's unfair. If you're going to be a real woman, you know, if you're not woman enough to take the response back from your words, you shouldn't have them coming out of your mouth. And just to let you know, nobody over here has been calling any cops on anybody. So if you really want to know who did it, and you're really being honest and it really did happen, why not go ahead up there and file charges? And let's see who this person really is. Because you're not going to put that out here on the whole community when it's somebody else that maybe you've offended. That's not right either. Before you start calling out stuff and calling out people and saying they've done stuff, you need to have your proof to back it up, dear. Because that's wrong. Right's right and wrong's wrong. And I'm all for right. And if you're right, I'll be the first one on your team. But I don't think you're right here. I think you've offended so many people with your mouth and the nasty things that you say about people just because they don't agree with everything you say, that somebody has turned you in for something. So let's see who that person is. Don't blame it on this community. It very well may not even be anybody in this community that's doing it. But, I mean, who knows? That's yet to be seen. But until then, don't accuse. Don't accuse. I'm all for if you've got proof about something that you can show, then show it. Otherwise, don't state it because it don't make it true. And Net, you coming on every morning telling everybody how horrible everybody is, other than you and SG and Sharon. Don't you think that's going a little bit too far? Because you're talking pure crap every morning to your viewers and telling them not how horrible everybody is. Aren't you doing the same thing there? And yes, I got a little upset the other day, and I used the word bitch, and I apologize for that, because normally I don't do that. That's not me. That's not who I am. But I will come in, and I will argue my point. But when you're unable to do that, because somebody is too scared of your comments that they block you, and that's exactly what it is, because they don't want anybody coming in and maybe explaining why they done this or done that in the chat, or why they're saying something in their chat. I mean, come on now. If you're going to talk about somebody, the least you can do is leave your chat open and allow that person to respond. Grow up. You can't sit around and talk crap like that and not let the person respond. That is wrong. And, that's what got me to the point that I used an ugly word. And I regret using it. Like I said, that's not me. But when you get somebody to that point, like you are getting me, and if you got me there, I'm pretty sure you've gotten several other people in the same uproar inside that they wanted to call you more than I did. Because I've heard some of the words that come out of your mouth, and they're not nice. They are vile, and they're ugly. And I think you're full of a lot of hatred. Why? I don't know. I don't have a clue what kind of lifestyle you live or anything about it. But the anger that you express is coming from somewhere. And I don't think it's from a few harsh comments on YouTube. Because if that were the case, I would be worse than you are. Because I've listened to Sharon's little cronies over there run their mouth to the point where You know, it makes you want to slap the taste out of somebody's mouth, but I don't do it. I don't do it. I sit here and I'd ignore it. You know, just like you have to. You're going to have people who don't agree with you. But case in point is, if you're going to talk about another YouTuber, be woman enough to let them respond. Be woman enough to let them respond. You know, as bad as me and Sharon do not get along, I have never once blocked her where she can't respond to anything I have to say. Because it's the only fair thing to do. You know, we're all adults. And if there's an issue, why do you have to call people all these names just to talk about them? I mean, I don't get that. I mean, that's what I mean when I say you got a lot of anger in you, lady. A lot. And Annette, you don't even fit in over there, honey. You really don't. And I'm going to tell you why. You seem like a very nice lady. But you are backing people who are doing nothing but lying to you and putting you up to things to do in this community. Just like I heard SG tell you that you needed to call the police, but she wasn't going to. Don't you find that a little odd? Why would she tell you to call? She's the one that's being harassed so badly, right? I don't get this. I don't get it at all. But, I mean, if there is an issue where you feel unsafe, where somebody's threatening you, I don't blame anybody for calling the cops. No one at all. But, you know, you can't sit around and call people every name under the sun, SG, and not expect to get it back. Because you're going to get it back. And you might be careful who you say things to like that. Because you can't call people them names, just anybody those names, and think that they won't smack the taste right out of your mouth. Because people do that. There's some not so polite people on here. And if you offend them in that way, you know, you're asking for problems. So it's called provoking them. And when you provoke somebody, then what happens is whose fault? Yours. So you need to think about that for a moment. You know, I've been around the block or two a time or two here, girls and boys. I know what's up. And people have gotten me to the point where I had to slap the taste out of their mouth to learn them a lesson. I've been there and done that. But I've also gotten older and I've learned to buy my time. Because the truth will prevail, baby. So, you know, I don't have to call you every name under the sun to get my point across. There's other ways of doing that. There's adult ways of doing that. You don't have to be a name caller, you know, like a kid or a teenager. That's what they do. They love to cuss. But, I mean, this has gotten completely out of hand. This community's gone south as far as it could go. And there's not one channel on here that's nice and kind, period. So if y'all sitting over there telling that lie, you're telling a lie. And I'm calling you on that lie. Because nobody's being nice to anybody anymore. Nobody's encouraging anybody. Nobody's doing anything to keep this community good. So, guys, have a nice night.